Isn't it frustrating when foods you've enjoyed your whole life suddenly don't agree with you anymore? Maybe you feel bloated after a meal that used to be perfectly fine. Or perhaps you experience discomfort that just wasn't there in your younger years. It can feel like your digestive system has a mind of its own sometimes, doesn't it? You're not alone. As we get a little older, our bodies, including our digestive systems, change in subtle ways. Things slow down. Enzymes might not be as abundant, and our gut can become a bit more sensitive. This means some common foods that were once friends to our tummies can quietly become troublemakers. They aren't necessarily bad foods for everyone, but after 60 they can start causing sneaky problems you might not even attribute to what you just ate. But what if you could identify some of these usual suspects and understand why they might be causing issues? What if making a few simple tweaks could bring back some of that digestive comfort? You remember, in this video, we're going to shine a light on 5 common foods that might be quietly harming your digestion after 60, and talk about what you can do about it. Stick around and watch to the end for something that might truly surprise you about one of these everyday items. So, let's dive right into these common foods that can become surprisingly difficult for our digestive systems as we age. The first one we need to talk about is something many of us have enjoyed since childhood. Something that's a staple in countless kitchens: dairy products. Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to give up dairy entirely. Not at all. But it's a fact that lactose intolerance, or at least a decreased ability to digest lactose, becomes much more common as we get older. Lactose is the natural sugar found in milk and other dairy products. To digest it properly, our bodies need an enzyme called lactase, which breaks lactose down into simpler sugars that can be absorbed. Here's the key for many people. The production of lactase naturally declines after adolescence. In our younger years, we had plenty of it to handle milk, cheese, and ice cream without a second thought. But over time, with less lactase available, that lactose can travel undigested into the large intestine. And that's where the trouble starts. When undigested lactose reaches the large intestine, it interacts with the bacteria living there. These bacteria ferment the lactose, producing gases like hydrogen, methane, and carbon dioxide. This fermentation process is what causes those uncomfortable symptoms we associate with lactose intolerance: bloating, gas, abdominal cramps, and even diarrhea. For someone over 60 with naturally slower digestion and potentially less resilience in their gut lining, these symptoms can be more pronounced and linger longer. It's not just about feeling a bit gassy. It can genuinely impact your comfort and quality of life after meals. You might notice that having a glass of milk, eating a bowl of ice cream, or even having a creamy sauce triggers these feelings. What makes this a quiet harm is that the symptoms might not always be severe, or you might just attribute them to getting older or just how my stomach is now, instead of the specific food. You might not get crippling pain, but a persistent, low-grade discomfort, bloating that makes your clothes feel tight, or just a general feeling of sluggishness in your gut after eating certain things. These subtle signs can add up and affect your overall well-being. Think about how a constantly irritated digestive system might impact your energy levels or even your mood. It's all connected. So, what can you do if you suspect dairy might be causing you grief first? It's worth paying attention. Try keeping a simple food diary for a week or 2, noting when you eat dairy and if you experience any digestive symptoms afterwards. This can help you identify if there's a pattern. If you find a link, you don't necessarily have to cut out dairy completely right away. You could try reducing the amount of dairy you consume in one sitting, instead of a large glass of milk. Maybe just a splash in your tea or coffee, instead of a big bowl of ice cream. Perhaps a small scoop. Another approach is to try lactose-free dairy products. These products have the lactase enzyme added during processing, so the lactose is already broken down before you consume it. They taste very similar to regular dairy and can be a great alternative. Many people find they can enjoy milk, ice cream, And yogurt again without the unpleasant side effects by choosing lactose-free options. Hard cheeses and some yogurts also tend to be lower in lactose than milk or softer cheeses. The fermentation process in yogurt, for instance, can break down some of the lactose. And the longer aging process in hard cheeses like cheddar or Parmesan also reduces the lactose content. So, you might find you can tolerate a slice of cheddar cheese or a small pot of live culture yogurt better than a glass of milk. And, of course, there are many non-dairy alternatives available now: almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, coconut milk, and more. These have come a long way in taste and texture and can be used in many of the same ways as dairy milk. Experiment to find which ones you like best for your cereal, coffee, or cooking. Switching to a non-dairy yogurt or ice cream alternative can also be a simple swap that makes a big difference. The key here is self-awareness and experimentation. Your body is unique, and what bothers one person might not bother you. But because age-related lactase decline is so common, dairy is often one of the first foods to consider if you're experiencing new or worsening digestive issues after 60. Just being mindful and trying some of these alternatives might bring surprising relief. Now, moving on from dairy, let's talk about another very common part of our modern diet, one that's convenient and often quite appealing, but can be particularly hard on the aging digestive system: highly processed foods and sugary snacks. We're talking about things like packaged cookies, cakes, pastries, sugary cereals, sugary drinks, and many ready-to-eat meals or snacks that are low in fiber and nutrients, but high in refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and artificial additives. Why are these a problem, especially as we get older? Several reasons. Firstly, they are often very low in fiber. Fiber is crucial for healthy digestion. It adds bulk to our stool, helping it move smoothly through the intestines. And it also feeds the beneficial bacteria in our gut. As digestion slows down with age, getting enough fiber becomes even more important to prevent constipation, which is a very common issue after 60. Processed foods are stripped of their natural fiber content, meaning they don't provide this essential support. Secondly, the high amounts of refined sugar and unhealthy fats in these foods can negatively impact the balance of bacteria in our gut microbiome. Our gut is home to trillions of bacteria, some good, some not so good. The good bacteria help with digestion, nutrient absorption, and even support our immune system. The bad bacteria can contribute to inflammation and digestive upset. A diet high in sugar and unhealthy fats tends to feed the less beneficial bacteria, leading to an imbalance that can cause gas, bloating, and irregular bowel movements. This imbalance, known as dysbiosis, can become more persistent and harder for the aging gut to correct compared to when we were younger. Think about how you feel after eating a big sugary pastry or a bag of chips compared to how you feel after eating a bowl of oatmeal with berries. The first might give you a quick sugar rush followed by a crash, and potentially leave your stomach feeling unsettled or heavy. The second, rich in fiber and nutrients, is more likely to promote healthy digestion and sustained energy. The quiet harm here comes from the fact that these foods are everywhere and often consumed out of habit or convenience. We might grab a cookie with our tea, snack on crackers throughout the day, or rely on packaged meals when we're tired. These little choices, seemingly harmless on their own, can contribute to chronic low-grade digestive distress over time. The sugar can cause inflammation in the gut lining. The low fiber leads to sluggishness, and the unhealthy fats are harder to digest. What can you do to reduce the impact of processed foods and sugary snacks? It's not about perfection, but about making conscious choices more often. Try to swap out some of your usual highly processed snacks for whole food alternatives. Instead of packaged cookies, have a piece of fruit. Instead of sugary cereal, opt for oatmeal or a whole grain option with less added sugar. Instead of reaching for chips, try a handful of nuts or seeds. When choosing ready-to-eat options, read the labels. Look for items with higher fiber content and lower amounts of added sugars and unhealthy fats. Sometimes, Small swaps in your daily routine can make a significant difference in how your digestive system feels. For example, switching from white toast with jam to whole wheat toast with avocado for breakfast adds valuable fiber and healthy fats, which can help keep things moving smoothly throughout the day. Hydration is also crucial when increasing fiber intake. If you start eating more whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, remember to drink plenty of water throughout the day. Fiber needs water to work effectively. Without enough water, increasing fiber can actually make constipation worse. So, alongside making these food swaps, make sure you're sipping on water regularly. Reducing reliance on highly processed foods isn't just good for digestion. It benefits your overall health in countless ways, helping manage blood sugar, supporting heart health, and providing essential vitamins and minerals. It's a win-win, starting small. Perhaps by replacing one processed snack a day with a piece of fruit or a handful of vegetables can be a manageable first step. Moving on from the processed snacks, let's consider another food group that's a comfort for many, but can be tough on digestion as we age: fried foods. Think about crispy fried chicken, French fries, donuts, or anything else that's been deep fried to golden perfection. They are undeniably delicious, and the occasional indulgence is fine for many. However, making them a regular part of your diet after 60 can put a significant strain on your digestive system. Here's why. Fats, especially the kinds found in fried foods, take much longer to digest than carbohydrates or proteins. Your body needs bile from the liver and gallbladder, and enzymes from the pancreas, to break them down. As we age, the production and release of these digestive juices can become less efficient. When you consume a large amount of fat from fried foods, your digestive system has to work extra hard for an extended period. This can lead to a feeling of heaviness, indigestion, heartburn, and discomfort. The fat sits in the stomach longer, which can increase the risk of acid reflux. Furthermore, the high fat content can sometimes trigger the gastrocolic reflex, which is the body's normal response to food entering the stomach. It stimulates activity in the colon to make room for the new food. While this reflex is normal, in some people, particularly those with sensitive digestive systems or conditions like irritable bowel syndrome (IBS), high-fat meals, especially fried ones, can overstimulate this reflex, leading to urgent bathroom trips shortly after eating. This can be particularly disruptive and uncomfortable. The cooking process of frying itself can also create compounds that are potentially irritating to the gut lining. And because fried foods are often low in fiber, they contribute to that overall slowing down of the digestive process we discussed earlier. It's a double whammy: hard to digest fats combined with a lack of fiber to help move things along. Again, the quiet harm comes from the fact that you might not immediately connect that feeling of being heavy or that bout of indigestion hours after a meal to the fried potatoes you had at lunch. Or you might just dismiss it as a one-off issue. But if you frequently consume fried foods, these minor discomforts can become a chronic problem, affecting your appetite, energy, and overall digestive health. So, how can you enjoy some of the flavors you love without putting undue stress on your system? One simple tip is to choose healthier cooking methods instead of frying. Try baking, grilling, roasting, or air frying. Air fryers, in particular, can give foods a crispy texture similar to frying but use much less oil. Roasted vegetables or baked chicken can be just as satisfying and much easier on your digestion. If you do decide to have something fried, consider the portion size. A small portion as an occasional treat is very different from a large plateful several times a week. Also, think about what you pair it with. Eating fried food as part of a large, heavy meal will likely cause more issues than having a small portion alongside plenty of vegetables. Another thing to consider is the type of oil used and how old it is. Overheated or repeatedly used oil can break down and form less healthy compounds. While you might not always have control over this when eating out, it's something to be mindful of. Ultimately, reducing your intake of frequently fried foods and opting for alternative cooking methods is a very effective way to ease the burden on your digestive system as you age. It's about finding ways to enjoy delicious food in a way that supports, rather than stresses, your body. It might take a little getting used to, but many people find that once they reduce their reliance on fried foods, their digestive comfort improves significantly, and they might even find they prefer the taste of baked or grilled foods. Now, let's turn our attention to something that adds a kick to food for many, but can be quite unpredictable in its digestive effects, especially later in life: spicy foods. For some people, spicy food is never an issue, regardless of age. But for others, particularly as the digestive system becomes more sensitive, or if conditions like heartburn or acid reflux are already present, spicy dishes can be real culprits. Spicy foods contain compounds like capsaicin, which is what gives chilies their heat. Capsaicin can irritate the lining of the esophagus and stomach, which is why some people experience heartburn or indigestion after eating spicy meals. While the research on whether capsaicin actually causes ulcers is mixed, it can certainly aggravate existing irritation or inflammation in the digestive tract. Beyond the upper digestive tract, spicy food can also speed up the transit time of food through the intestines for some people. This means food passes through the gut faster than it should, which can lead to diarrhea or abdominal cramping. It's almost like your body is trying to quickly push the irritant through the system. For an aging digestive system that might already be dealing with slower motility or a more sensitive gut lining, this rapid transit or irritation can be particularly uncomfortable and disruptive. You might notice that the spicy curry you enjoyed in your 40s now leaves you feeling uneasy, or that adding chili flakes to your pasta causes unexpected heartburn, like the other foods we've discussed. This effect can be subtle at first, perhaps just a mild warmth that feels a bit off, or slightly looser stools the next day. But if spicy food is a regular part of your diet, these minor issues can become more persistent. The quiet aspect here is that spiciness is often seen as a flavor enhancer, not a digestive irritant, until it starts causing noticeable problems. And because tolerance levels vary so widely, it's easy to assume that if you could handle spice before, you always will. But age-related changes in gut sensitivity and acid production can change that equation. So, if you love spicy food but suspect it might be contributing to your digestive woes, what can you do? The most obvious step is to reduce the level of spice in your dishes. You don't have to eliminate spice entirely, but perhaps choose milder peppers, use fewer chilies, or reduce the amount of hot sauce you add. Another approach is to be mindful of the combination of foods you eat. Eating a very spicy meal that is also high in fat or very acidic, like a spicy dish with a tomato base, might be more problematic than a mildly spicy dish that is otherwise easy to digest. Pay attention to your body's reaction. If a particular level of spice or a specific spicy dish consistently causes you discomfort, it might be time to scale back or find alternative ways to add flavor to your food using herbs and other seasonings. There are many wonderful spices that add depth and flavor without the heat of capsaicin. Think ginger, turmeric, cumin, coriander, or smoked paprika. These can provide delicious alternatives, and some even have potential digestive benefits. It's also important not to eat very spicy food on an empty stomach, as this can increase the risk of irritation. Having a bit of food in your stomach can provide a buffer. Remember, this isn't about giving up flavor or enjoyment. It's about finding the balance that works for your digestive system. Now, what your body could tolerate at 30 or 40 might be different at 60 or 70, and that's perfectly normal. Listening to your body's signals when it comes to spicy food is key to avoiding unnecessary discomfort. Finally, let's discuss a category of ingredients that are often added to foods to reduce sugar or fat content, yet can cause significant digestive upset for some people, especially as they get older: artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols. These are commonly found in sugar-free or diet products like diet sodas, sugar-free candies, chewing gum, some protein bars, and even certain yogurts and baked goods. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose are intensely sweet and contain very few calories because they aren't absorbed or metabolized by the body in the same way as sugar. Sugar alcohols like sorbitol, mannitol, xylitol, and erythritol are also less calorie-dense than sugar and have a lower impact on blood sugar, which is why they are popular in diabetic-friendly products. While these might seem like a good alternative for managing calorie intake or blood sugar, they can be notorious for causing digestive problems. Here's why neither artificial sweeteners nor sugar alcohols are fully digested or absorbed in the small intestine. Like undigested lactose, they travel to the large intestine. Once there, they are fermented by gut bacteria. This fermentation process produces gas, leading to bloating, flatulence, and abdominal cramps. Sugar alcohols, in particular, are well known for having a laxative effect if consumed in large quantities. This is because they can draw water into the large intestine. For an aging digestive system that might already have a less diverse or resilient gut microbiome, or slower transit time, the fermentation of these sweeteners can be particularly bothersome. The gases produced might linger longer, causing more significant bloating and discomfort. The laxative effect of sugar alcohols can also be more pronounced or unpredictable. The quiet harm here is that these sweeteners are often hidden in foods marketed as healthy, diet, or sugar-free. You might be consuming them regularly without realizing the potential digestive impact, thinking you're making a healthier choice by opting for a sugar-free cookie or a diet soda. You might actually be introducing ingredients that irritate your gut and cause uncomfortable symptoms. Identifying these can be tricky because they are ingredients, not whole foods. You need to read ingredient labels carefully. Look for names ending in -ol like sorbitol, xylitol, mannitol, or chemical-sounding names like aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, acesulfame potassium. If you suspect artificial sweeteners or sugar alcohols are contributing to your digestive issues, the most effective step is to reduce your intake of products containing them. This might involve switching from diet soda to plain water or unsweetened tea, choosing regular versions of some foods in moderation over their sugar-free counterparts, or finding snacks that are naturally sweet from fruit or have no added sweeteners, instead of relying on artificial sweetness. Try to appreciate the natural sweetness in whole foods. A ripe piece of fruit, a few dates, or a sprinkle of cinnamon can add sweetness and flavor without the potential digestive side effects of artificial sweeteners. If you use sweeteners in cooking or drinks, consider using very small amounts of natural sweeteners like honey or maple syrup, keeping in mind their sugar content, or explore alternatives like stevia or monk fruit extract, although some people can still experience digestive issues with these. The key takeaway is that sugar-free doesn't automatically mean digestive-friendly, especially as we get older. Being aware of where these hidden sweeteners are lurking in your diet and consciously choosing to reduce them can make a noticeable positive difference in your digestive comfort. It's about prioritizing ingredients that your body knows how to handle easily. So, we've talked about dairy, processed foods and sugary snacks, fried foods, spicy foods, and artificial sweeteners or sugar alcohols. These 5 common things can quietly become problematic for digestion after 60 due to natural age-related changes in our bodies. It's not about saying these foods are inherently evil or that you can never enjoy them again. Not at all. It's about recognizing that your body might process them differently now than it used to. Understanding why. These foods can cause issues, whether it's reduced enzyme production, slower transit time, changes in gut bacteria, or increased sensitivity, is the first step. The next step is simply paying attention to how your body responds after you eat. That food diary we mentioned earlier can be incredibly helpful. Does that morning pastry leave you feeling bloated for hours? Does a spicy meal consistently lead to discomfort? Do sugar-free candies cause gas? Remember, you have the power to make choices that support your digestive health and, in turn, your overall well-being. Small, gradual changes are often the easiest to stick with and can yield significant results. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Maybe start by trying a lactose-free milk in your coffee, or swapping out one processed snack a day for a piece of fruit, or baking those potatoes instead of frying them. It's about experimentation and finding what works best for your unique body at this stage of life. Be patient and be kind to yourself. It's a journey of learning and adjusting. Improving digestion isn't just about avoiding discomfort. It can lead to better nutrient absorption, more energy, improved mood, and a greater sense of vitality. When your gut is happy, you often feel happier and more energetic too. Don't hesitate to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian if you have persistent digestive concerns. They can help you understand what might be going on and provide personalized advice. You have so much life to live and enjoy, and feeling comfortable and well is a huge part of that. Taking a closer look at what you eat is a powerful way to take care of yourself. Being over 60 doesn't mean accepting digestive discomfort as the norm. Far from it. With a little awareness and some simple adjustments, you can make a big difference. Thank you for watching and spending this time with me. I truly hope this has given you some helpful things to think about. What are your experiences? Have you noticed any foods affecting your digestion more as you've gotten older? Share your thoughts and tips in the comments below. Your experience could help someone else if you found this video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Designed to help you live your best life at every age. Take care. And keep exploring delicious ways to nourish your body.